This is the story of a lost valley hidden deep inside the earth where time has stood still. Here, among the tall trees, mist rises, and a huge herd of herbivorous dinosaurs can be seen grazing peacefully. In the background, mysterious, ancient trees rustled their leaves. It feels like no human has ever set foot here, and there are no signs of civilization anywhere. Even the sky seems alien compared to what we're used to seeing now. But the beauty of this place hides a terrible secret, one that has remained buried for hundreds of millions of years. The ground begins to tremble beneath our feet, and a terrifying roar echoes through the jungle. A terrible predator appears, running at full speed towards the herd of peaceful giants. His name is Scar. He's a Tyrannosaurus Rex, and he's hungry. As the camera circles around him, we see that his left eye is cloudy and doesn't seem to see anything. Only the most ferocious animals could live in this place. And as if they sensed danger, the peaceful herbivores flee deeper into the forest. Will they be able to escape? A few seconds pass, and Scar stops. He looks around, then lowers his head to the ground and sniffs the air. The other predators, including several velociraptors, gather around him. They move even more quickly than he does, almost like a pack of wolves. Scar makes a decision. He turns and goes back the way he came, and the rest of the predators follow close behind. They're going after the fleeing herbivores, specifically a young triceratops who's separated from the herd. Deep inside the forest, the young triceratops runs away with all his might. But the predators are gaining on him, and although the triceratops is strong, there are simply too many of them. The herbivore runs out of the forest onto a vast plain. In the distance, we can see the outlines of volcanic mountains. Suddenly, one of the raptors leaps at him, sinking its sharp teeth into the poor triceratops. The latter screams and tries to shake the predator off. However, another raptor joins the attack, then another, and soon dozens of these vicious killers surround the unfortunate herbivore. One of the raptors lets out a piercing screech, and all the animals freeze. Scar walks up to the frightened triceratops and lets out a terrifying roar. But before the Tyrannosaurus can do anything, the earth trembles again. The volcano in the distance begins to rumble ominously. The approaching danger scares off all the predators. The herbivorous dinosaurs who had been hiding come out of their hiding places. The T-Rex watches them curiously. It seems to understand that something strange is happening. All the animals begin to move away from the volcano. They sense that it is about to erupt and are trying to get as far away from it as possible. Meanwhile, high in the sky, a flock of pterodactyls flies over the valley. The birds circle above the trees, looking down at the animals below. The herbivores don't seem to notice or care about the birds. They're much too scared of the volcano. The dinosaurs don't seem to know that there's more than one volcano in the area, but perhaps they've never seen anything like this before. As the camera pans away, we see that the volcano is very close to the place where the Triceratops was being hunted a few moments ago. And now a raging river of lava is pouring down its slopes. The herbivores scream in terror and try to flee. But it's too late! The fire is spreading rapidly, and soon a whole flock of Triceratops will be roasted alive along with all the other animals unlucky enough to find themselves nearby. Suddenly, the predator, Scar, steps out from behind a tree. He watched how the herbivore herd panicked and realized that the danger was much greater than he'd thought. The T-Rex roars furiously, but it's too late. There's nothing he can do against the power of nature. Taking advantage of the confusion, he decides to hide in the bushes. In the meantime, a young herbivore breaks away from the herd and runs as fast as he can. Although he understands that no matter where he goes, the pursuing fire will catch up with him sooner or later. The small dinosaur runs through a river, then through a thick forest. But when he finally realizes that there's nowhere to hide and no one to help him, he stops. He stands on a rocky crag, looks around, and screams. The sound echoes through the mountains and dies away into the distance. No one will hear his cry for help. The next shot shows us the entire valley from above. The fire has spread everywhere. Whole areas are burning in the flickering light of the torches. The fleeing animals can be seen everywhere. Some have already died, and their bodies lie charred on the ground. Others continue to run desperately, hoping to save themselves. We see a group of smaller dinosaurs fleeing the flames. These are ornithomimids. They run through the underbrush, trying to stay away from the river, which is now filled with burning oil. They don't want to go into the forest either, because all the trees that are on fire. So the dinosaurs are trapped. Then suddenly, a huge Brachiosaurus appears. It's so big that it seems like a real giant. The poor animal is already burned on one side and is now desperately trying to move to the other side of the river. But the water is too hot, and the Brachiosaurus can only take a few steps forward before turning back. It lets out a piercing scream and falls to its knees. Soon, the entire forest behind it will be engulfed in flames. In the distance, we can see two pairs of eyes watching the giant from afar. These belong to two formidable predators. It's a T-Rex and a Spinosaurus. The two rivals have been chasing each other for a long time, but they're so evenly matched that neither can win. Now, however, it's clear that this fight is of no interest to anyone. Both predators turn and flee, each in their own direction. But even they can't outrun the fire. More and more animals are fleeing into the forest, desperately trying to save themselves. But the fire is relentless. And soon it'll devour everything in its path. The camera focuses on a young Triceratops. She sees her mother lying dead on the ground, charred and lifeless. The little dinosaur screams, but no one can hear her cries. And she's certainly too young to understand what's happening. Just then, she hears a familiar sound. At first, she thinks it's a predator. But no, it's her father. He's calling her, and he's close by. The little dinosaur hesitates for a second, then begins to run in the direction of her father's voice. The fire behind her grows more and more furious. After a while, we see a clearing overgrown with tall grass. A male Triceratops is standing in the middle of it. He's waiting for his daughter. When he sees her, he greets her, and together they flee further into the forest. Behind them, we can see the silhouettes of other animals running away from the fire. A wounded ornithomus limps along, trying to stay on its feet. A group of raptors flees with their heads down, tails raised high. In the distance, the silhouette of a huge Brachiosaurus can be seen staggering through the fire. The father and daughter run through the tall grass until they see a steep cliff in front of them. On the other side, they can see a narrow ledge, barely a meter wide, that runs along the cliff. In the distance, it disappears from view. Below the ledge is a bottomless abyss. The Triceratops hesitate for a moment, then begin to move forward. The ledge is so narrow that it's impossible to fall off it. And although the fire is already creeping closer, they have no other choice but to keep moving forward. The fire continues to rage. In the distance, we can see the silhouettes of animals fleeing from it. Among them, we recognize the huge Spinosaurus. He runs desperately, trying to get as far away from the fire as possible. But the fire is relentless, and soon it'll engulf everything in its path. And now the biggest predator finds himself right at the edge of the erupting volcano. He looks around in bewilderment and lets out a loud roar into the fire. Huge pieces of burning wood fall from the sky like torches. The predator lifts his head up and lets out a final roar before disappearing from view. The camera slowly moves away from the burning valley. The earth begins to collapse and fall silent. Smoke and ash cover the entire sky. Huge pieces of debris fall from above, and smaller dinosaurs huddle under the ferns trying to protect themselves. But when the tremors subside, we see that none of them survived. The camera flies very low over the ground and focuses on a small egg. It lies in the shadow of a fern, and a crack has appeared on its surface. After a moment, the egg opens, and a small dinosaur peeks out of it. It looks around cautiously. The baby dinosaur takes a deep breath and begins to move forward. Its first steps are shaky but determined, and the little dinosaur is ready to explore the ruins of the old world and make it his own.